Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost his wheels and Joker got away. Hey!
Merry Christmas.
That's right. Merry Christmas.
Happy
Happy
holidays. Yeah,
Happy
it's a Hanukkah actually on Christmas Eve now.
Yep, New Year's Eve as well. Mm-hmm. Welcome to our Christmas Eve special of the Beantown Beatdown. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into our talk of UFC 207, countdown to that fight. Good pay-per-view card. I'm actually going with a friend of mine to go see the fight. So, yeah, cheers to that, man.
Cheers to that, in the spirit of the holidays.
Yep. Ooh, that's a good margarita.
Right.
All right, so let's get into it. First fight on the main card, Luis the Last Samurai Smoka versus Ray, the Taz Mexican, like Taz Mexican, Tasmanian.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Ray Borga. So, don't know much about these two fighters. All I know is Ray is ranked number 13. Luis Smoka is ranked number 12. So this fight could go either way. I'd say I'm going to go 50-50 on this. You know, anything can happen. What about you?
Well, I was asking him for a synopsis of these fights before we went on air because I was like, I don't really know their history. I don't know, what makes them strong players or not. So, I'm gonna have to defer to your experience on a lot of these, except for, of course, the rematch. The rematch everyone's gonna be watching. Ronda Rousey versus.
Well, it's not a rematch. This is the first time they're fighting each other.
Okay, whatever. Isn't it a title defense though, or did she already have the title?
This is Amanda Nunes' first title defense, which we'll get into later.
Yes.
Sorry, just texting a friend of ours.
Get it together.
Yes,
We're on air.
Yes. Right, our second fight of the night: T.J. Dillashaw, the former UFC bantamweight champion, taking on John Linker. Don't know much about Linker. All I know is Dillashaw is a former champion, wants to get the title back. Of course, his fight mate from Team Alpha Male, Cody Garbrandt, is fighting the current champion, Dominic Cruz, who also beat T.J. Dillashaw. So, I'm going to go out on the limb and say T.J. Dillashaw by second round knockout.
Okay, good to know.
All right. And now we're going to get into your segment, which is called Get Over Yourself.
Now we're going to actually go back to Macho Doesn't Mean That.
Oh, okay. Macho doesn't mean this. Okay.
Exactly.
That's good.
And it works perfectly with this segment because I'm going to be talking about standing up for what you believe in. And so, like I used to say when I started out the Macho Doesn't Mean This segment, I would talk about the kind of misguided perceptions of manhood, and one of those misguided perceptions is that is that whatever you think and how you see the world is right, and you have to and you have to protect that not just through your words but by use of force. So I don't believe that's true, but it's not to say that you shouldn't stand up for what you believe in. In fact, we have to stand up for what we believe in. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot at stake. I feel like a lot of and again, we don't really get political here, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff, a lot of people's core beliefs, and the disagreement of belief has become a huge issue, and we sort of get fired up as we should be. But we should know how to stand up for ourselves and what we believe in, while still being respectful.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, sorry for texting right there. I just had to do a real quick text. But that doesn't mean I wasn't listening or wasn't paying attention. Just putting it out there.
Yep.
And I totally agree with you, man. Because let me tell you something. Like this goes, because you and I both have Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism for those of you out there. And there's been a lot of talks of Trump cutting our, like disability funds and stuff like that. And the thing is about people with disabilities, because we want to be seen as equals. I mean, we're not asking for handouts or anything like that,
exactly.
But we do want them to try to understand us and try to basically work at our pace and stuff. And they say people with disabilities, they can't date, or especially when it comes to neurotypicals, and stuff like that. And even
I hope people don't say that you can't date, but yeah.
Well, yeah, they say that we can't date neurotypical people because neurotypicals don't have the patience and stuff, and some don't, because having a disability, it does require a lot of patience. But the thing is, we've been held down for a while, and so have people in the gay community as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I was about to say a lot of what you're saying ties into the gay community directly. It's the same. It's pretty much the same struggle. We're technically a minority. When it comes to the raw numbers, we are a minority, and yet we're a very important part of this cultural fabric, and we will not be denied. We will not be taken down. We will not be sent backwards into the past. We will stand up for our rights. I'm encouraged to see that there's that most of the neighborhood of the new vice president, the incoming vice president, his neighborhood is actually peppered with rainbow flags now. They're sending a message to the new vice president that whatever you pulled in Indiana, we're not going to accept that shit here.
Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is, just like in the civil rights movement back in the 50s and 60s, black people, they said, okay, you know what, we ain't gonna take no more of this. Enough is enough. And there was some Martin Luther Kings, and then there was also Malcolm X. What I see in the movement for gay rights and for equal opportunities, I see a lot of Martin Luther Kings. I mean, all due respect to him, but what we really need is a brother Malcolm up in there. Malcolm X. I mean,
I agree. I think we, and I think fighting for what you believe does come with some aggression, and we shouldn't shy away from that, and so yeah, they're gonna say we're aggressive, or they're gonna say that we, have temper tantrums. I mean, let them say what they're gonna say. Like that's pretty much social justice 101 is you have to get over what the other side's going to say about you, because no matter what you do, the other side's going to find fault with what you're doing.
Exactly. And
except I do believe that Martin Luther King actually ultimately had the right idea. Like I think the nonviolent way ultimately does win the day, but I do understand the aggression and the strong stance that is needed from Malcolm X as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because even though, I mean, eventually, Malcolm earlier dissed Martin Luther King, but then they became friends eventually before they were both assassinated. Actually, before Malcolm was assassinated. But the thing is, the Malcolm X, he wasn't saying we shall overcome someday, because he was like, no, we don't want to overcome someday. We want to overcome now.
Yes.
And even right now, with all the police brutality and all the stuff that's been going down, black people are like, enough of this. We shall overcome someday. We gonna overcome right now. Not that I condone, the rioting and burning down people's things, but they're saying like, yo, we want to overcome now, and that's what the gays and the people with disabilities, that's what they need right now. We need somebody who can say like, no, we ain't gonna overcome. We're not overcoming someday. Today we're gonna overcome.
Yeah, exactly, and and yeah, I mean it's important, and it actually is crucial, and this stuff actually is urgent, there's also in the new the incoming vice president's neighborhood. There's I just read that there's also signs that says this neighborhood trusts women. That's a whole other thing that that all the women in the country have to figure out. Are their rights going to be protected? Reproductive rights, all of that. That's it seems like that's almost some people think that that's almost easier to tear down than gay rights. Just because it's because like if it comes to reproductive rights, some women haven't been actually vocal as to why that's necessary, why that's needed, why it's yes, it's a tough issue, if we're talking about abortion, but it is a constitutional right, whether or not some people like that, you know what I mean? But it's even more than that. Like even if we're gonna take that out of it, we still have to stand up for birth control. We still have to stand up for contraception, and that should be things that men stand up for too, because everyone has to worry about pregnancy except gay people. We have to worry about diseases and stuff. But you, as a man, also as a straight man, also have to worry about pregnancy. You have to worry about if you're going to get a woman pregnant and what that will mean for your future. And that's a decision that both you and her should be able to make. If you're going to keep that baby.
Well, yeah, exactly. Most definitely, and also the other thing is, one of Malcolm X's things, his famous quotes was, well, actually, this is actually a quote in the Bible. You can actually catch this. Is the eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
mm-hmm.
I mean, not again. I don't condone like rioting, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the last thing we need is another angry black person or more violence. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, when it comes to people with disabilities, all disabilities, or people like you,
Mm-hmm.
who are gay, it's like, oh, hold on a second, an eye for an eye, man. It's like, oh, you're gonna call us fags and bash us in the heads? All right,
Mm-hmm.
we gonna whoop your ass, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And plus Malcolm X used to say, like, look, justice by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I truly believe. I mean, of course, my mom who's probably watching this. She's like, no, Dr. King, nonviolence.
Mm-hmm.
And because also Malcolm X did get some people killed.
Mm-hmm.
He actually, in the Nation of Islam and stuff. But, I'm sorry, man. My thing is, like, if you, like, for example, my brother, God forbid should something happen to him, you beat up, if you do something to my brother, Wayne, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I'm coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
And I will gladly go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Gladly go to jail.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that we have to be willing to do that. We have to be willing to do these things, these strong things, and we have to be willing to be aggressive and truly push forward for what's important. But I think we should be mindful that won't always that the best way won't always be to literally push forward, to literally hit back, but we should be willing to show that we should be able to show that we're willing to do it. We're willing to literally hit back, but we should be able to figuratively hit back and like kind of destroy your reputation and do it through society instead, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah. Most definitely.
Even the most the most violent fringe groups, they started with the culture war, and they started with saying "How dare you" after everything, and this idea of a war on Christmas, I personally think that's ridiculous, but if you want to believe that, okay. But
same here, man.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're gonna say "How dare you" when we put up a menorah next to your Christmas tree, then we're gonna say "How dare you" when you try and strip back rights of gay people, when you try and restrict reproductive rights and healthcare choices, when you try and go after disabled people, all of it.
Oh yeah, most exactly, because there've been YouTube videos of police beating up disabled people, breaking their arms, and
exactly.
and stuff like that.
In the cities, the most likely people to get police brutality are Black and Latino people, and in the country, in the rural places, the most likely people are disabled people. I don't know if you knew that. So.
Oh man, that's sad.
It is.
But it's also, for the youth that's coming up, it's also good to to try to educate them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is also about bringing something on to the next generation, and we should bring good things. We should bring all the culture that we've built, onto the next generation, and it is about educating them on what's right and wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Because when we were coming up, before I got diagnosed with Asperger's and stuff, I knew some kids who had some mental disabilities in middle school. And of course I all thought it was all like mental retardation and stuff.
Right.
And of course later on I found out I was, there was something wrong with me. I thought I was just slow or something, but then it turns out
exactly me too.
Yeah, then it turns out I had Asperger's. But anyways, with was it? Oh yeah, I saw this one kid. He was at a bus. I was waiting at the bus stop. Him and his friends were coming on, and they were saying words like retard. It's like, oh, it's so retarded. And for a split second, I wanted to grab him by the neck and put him through the bus window.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be like, why would I say that motherfucking word? But then I was like, hold on a second. But then I thought with my head, and I said, yo, can I talk to you for a sec? And we were already on the bus, and I said, yo, listen. The word retard, I said, listen, I ain't trying to disrespect you or nothing like that, but let me tell you something. There are people, we don't like that word retard because that's disrespectful to people with disabilities. And I said, I'm a person with disabilities. I have a mental disability.
Right.
And I said, listen, I'm not going to jump down your throat because when I was a kid, I said stupid shit too, and as a teenager, you're allowed to be stupid.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I said, like, yo, but in the future, don't ever say that word, dog. And he shook my hand, and that was it.
That's great. That's amazing. And I think it's moments like that are like the most important. There's moments like that are the most transformative, the most educational, the most productive too. When you're trying to do that, the instinct to go violent, that you had, that that might have been some good satisfaction, but that would have been the most least productive thing to do on that bus, whereas what you ended up doing was the most productive thing to do.
Well, yeah, because as a kid, when I was a teenager, we even going into high school, we used to say stuff like oh, that's gay or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And by that, going in middle school, like in the early 2000s, we didn't really have an understanding of what gay was, and plus at that time, Eminem was doing the whole using gay lyrics, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
I've had a huge problem with Eminem, and I still didn't believe that he had actually been reformed until much later. But I continue.
And then when I got older, I remember when I was in high school. I remember one time this dude, my classmate, he was looking at he told this other student like what he said was gay. Like he asked a question and he went, yo. I asked a question like that. Yo, that's gay. And then my teacher, he said, hold on a second. Let me ask you something. What makes a question gay? And everybody was like, oh, shit. Yeah. And of course, by that time, I was really starting to accept gays and stuff like that. And, now I don't use that word like that's gay or nothing. I don't use...
Or the F word, right?
Yeah. I never used the F word. I never used fag.
Yeah.
But
some people did for the same reasons that they would use that's so gay without realizing how hurtful it is, how disparaging it is.
In fact, I even gave a talking to my niece Crystal. Hey, Crystal. How you doing? This is the part of the show you can watch.
Right.
But, I told my niece Crystal, because one time she said gay. I was
in
watching,
that way.
yeah, and I was watching a college basketball game last year, and she said that person, the announcer, what he's wearing is gay, and I was like, hold on a second, she's in front of a friend of hers who's like my brother's friend's daughter.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna embarrass her like that. So I took her to the side. I said, yo, can I talk to you for a sec?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yo, like, listen, first of all, I'm not gonna jump down your throat or nothing like that because I was your age once and I used to say stuff like that too. But yo, you can't be saying that because because you may have some friends who are gay and stuff like that. And also, I told her like,
you don't know. That's the other thing. You don't know who around you. Especially in middle school, like they don't know their sexuality yet. They might not know they're gay yet, and yet that the instinct that they're starting to feel, they'll internalize that's a bad thing just because of something you say.
Yeah, and also because I told her, like, listen, there's some gay people, they will mess you up if you say that.
Yep, that too.
Not that I want my niece to get beat up or anything, but if she got out of line saying that and you did happen to beat her up, I'd understand.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and her mom, maybe not so much understand, but I'm pretty sure I'll understand. I'll just be like, well, told you not to say that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where'd you learn?
Exactly. Good point. So anyway, it's moments like that are the most important. And I was actually going to say my boyfriend Jabari, it was actually the same. He actually had like on the bus. It was actually the same type of situation. Just 2 years ago, he actually had a moment where he was on the bus where he realized he realized that he had to say something to these guys. There were these like high school age, maybe early college age, black kids that were spouting off all sorts of stuff, and it wasn't the first time; it was the third time that they spouted off either about something being gay or about one of them being a fag. That he had to be like, okay, I have to go and talk to them, and so. I didn't know what he was gonna do, but I saw the look on his face when he got up to go to the back of the bus and sit with them, and I was like, okay, whatever it is, it's going down. And yeah, he basically told him the same type of thing that you told that kid about being disabled. He said, you don't know who's around you when you say this stuff. He's like, I'm gay. Me and my boyfriend are over there. You know what I mean? And we were already a little uncomfortable. Showing affection towards each other or whatever, and then you say these ignorant things that makes it even worse, and you don't know how someone's going to react, and you should be glad that I'm telling you this now, because the next person, like you just said about your niece, the next person might not be so forgiving, and boom.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So anyway, he actually gave them something. He sent them off with good tidings, and and I think they finally learned. But I was going to sit there and let it happen, and he went up and made it a teachable moment, and probably changed the way they're going to react forever.
Oh, exactly. By the way, were the teenagers, were they black?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because the other thing is, in the black community, it's still and I'm speaking on behalf of the black community, but
right.
The black community doesn't have a good reputation of embracing people who are gay, and still doesn't.
Exactly.
So
it's too bad. It's kind of a problem that
especially when it's a black man who's gay. That's black on black crime right there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and I've and I've heard that, and I've heard that it's that it's like one of those like self-policing things, like there's always something less desirable even within your own community that you're told you should self-police, and that's basically it. That's basically it for black people. A lot of times that's it for black people. Like, oh, if there's someone who's gay among us, we have to like disassociate from them, and we have to put them in their place because then God forbid the rest of society will think we're like that. Well, bad news for you. There are people who are gay in your ranks, and you know what I mean. Like, and discriminating against them the way you've been discriminated against is not going to help you.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? That's why I love what I love about the well, of course, Gabe is Jewish, as you all know.
Hmm.
That's what I love about the Jewish community. It's like the Jewish community. You guys are all about community and sticking up for one another. And
Exactly.
it's if there's a problem, you're gonna get dealt with.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the black community needs to be more like the Jewish community. Except without the yarmulkes and the beards and all.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to. You don't have to. To take everything from another culture. You've got your own culture. Exactly.
Exactly. So like and of course, naturally the people in the community of the gay community and the disability community, we can all learn from the Jewish community too.
Hmm.
I mean, hell, Lenny Kravitz is half Jewish.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? Power to the people, man.
Yes.
Power to the people.
Mm.
And with that, we're gonna get back to fighting now. Third match of the night, the rematch for Bricio Verdum versus Cain Velasquez. The rematch, finally, the heavyweight rematch we've been dying, we've been waiting for. And let me just say this. I'm really gonna go with Cain Velasquez on this one. I mean, Verdum is a great kickboxer and all, and actually, in the first fight, I didn't think Verdum was going to be able to hang with Velasquez in the striking, but he actually could.
Yeah.
And then Cain, of course, tried to go in for a double leg takedown, take him to the ground, and then Verdum got him in that guillotine and choked him out. And I don't know.
So I'm guessing a guillotine is like this.
No, yeah. Well, the guillotine is like it's like if I were to get you here,
Mm-hmm.
and then
you have to do it so the camera can see.
Yeah, I get you right here. Mm-hmm. I have my legs wrapped around your body, and then I go around your artery there, and then you tap out if I choke you right there. There you go. Yep. You got a free jiu-jitsu class, people. But yeah, it's. But in this fight, I'm gonna go with Cain Velasquez to. I'm gonna go with Cain Velasquez to take it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with Cain Velasquez to take it and get a shot at the heavyweight championship of the world.
Mm-hmm. Who won the last round again?
The last fight. Yeah, last fight was Fabricio, and Fabricio he's pretty good with his kickboxing too. I mean, he's of course his kickboxing coach is Rafael Cardell, who trained Anderson Silva back in the day, and also trained Vanderlei Silva. That whole shoot the box style of kickboxing where it's aggressive. Everyone just goes full speed, even in sparring. It's just bah, 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 bah. Everybody's just going full speed. It's like right. They have gym wars and stuff like that. So
all right, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I pick Cain Velasquez to win in 3 rounds. I'm going to go with a 3-round TKO.
Okay.
What about you?
Again, I already made clear that I don't know much about this. I'm going off of your experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's okay. You're a casual fan.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I'm here. For those of you that wonder why I'm here, is I'm here to represent the other side of the conversation, the other half of America that the sports fans are talking to. Yeah, the sports fans have to learn to talk to the casual fans, and people that don't watch sports.
Yeah, exactly. Also, actually, this looks like a 3 main event here by these 3 fights with Velasquez, Verdum. Verdum, I say, and Velasquez, I say, is the first main event. Mm-hmm. The second main event, of course, is Dominic Cruz versus Cody Garbrandt for the UFC bantamweight title. I mean, Cody Garbrandt has been on a roll. He's been knocking dudes out.
Yeah.
Dominic Cruz has been like the comeback kid, like coming back from years of injuries to now being the UFC bantamweight champion. Of course, he was the first UFC bantamweight champion when they brought in the bantamweight division. Mm-hmm. And I at first I was going with Cody, but then I thought, well, maybe Dominic could do it again. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go 50-50 on this one again.
Fascinating, yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm going 50-50 on this one. And of course, it's a 5-round fight, so this could go distance. This could go 1 or 2 rounds. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know someone's gonna walk out with the UFC bantamweight title belt that night. So this is definitely a 50-50 for me.
All right.
And of course, we're gonna go to the main event, the third main event of the night. Amanda Nunes defending her women's bantamweight title belt against Ronda Rousey. Yes,
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, Bruce Buffer. Yep, and you know what? Here's how I look at this. Here's how I look at this fight.
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes, a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a brown belt in judo. But Ronda is a black belt in judo, and she's an Olympic bronze medalist. So I'm definitely not going to count this out. But I say if it's on the ground, I give the slight edge to Ronda Rousey. I think Amanda Nunes will keep up for if it goes to the ground. If it goes 5 rounds, Amanda will be able to keep up. But I think eventually, by the 3rd or 4th round, she'll probably break, and Ronda will finally get a submission on her. If it winds up being a submission match.
Right.
But as far as on the feet striking, I got to give it to Amanda Nunes. And not just because of Ronda's knockout. When she got knocked the fuck out by Holly Holm, but I give it to Amanda Nunes because Ronda is not a world-class striker. I mean, neither is Amanda Nunes. I mean, compared to Holly Holmes and other strikers.
Right.
But, this is, if Amanda Nunes wants to knock out Ronda Rousey and keep it on the feet, she has to use the same tactic that Holly Holmes was pick your spots. Don't rush in, let Ronda come to you. Of course, Amanda is very aggressive. She's a very aggressive fighter.
Yeah.
But in this case, she has to let Ronda be the aggressor and force Ronda to come in, as she always does. And when she comes in and she can't get a takedown or she misses a shot or something, as soon as she misses, then bam, bam, bam. Punches, kicks, nail her before Ronda can nail her. You got to nail her before she gets in the striking range.
Right.
Of course. And, of course, I'm rooting for Ronda Rousey, for this one.
I'm sure we all are.
Yeah,
This is like do or die, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I pick Ronda Rousey, and, I'm going to go on a limb and maybe say 5 rounds. I think it'll go to a 5-round split decision.
Okay.
Okay. But I pick Ronda Rousey to win this fight, to win this. What about you? What's your prediction?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we're both pretty clear that we're actually hoping for Ronda. It's like her whole career is on the line on this one. I do pick her. I don't. I've been again deferring to your judgment on Nunes's abilities. I've heard a little bit about it. I think if she learned from home, like we've been talking about for several months now, if she learns from if Ronda learns from her fight with Holm and does a little bit less like on the feet, a little bit less in the beginning, like not wearing herself down, that type of stuff, and then like I guess a little bit better defense, then she probably has the chance. She probably has the edge, but she has to actually be able to do those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Ronda is still with her old coach. I mean, nothing has changed in the training camp as a trainer, as far as I know. I did hear her trainer once say that they were going to bring in some striking experts and maybe get an opinion, but so far from what I've seen, it hasn't happened. Right. I guess Ronda has that thing where it's like, well, if it ain't broke, then you shouldn't fix it. But
But maybe it was broke when she got defeated. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because she got defeated by Holly Holmes, who is a 19-time world boxing champion and a great kickboxer as well.
Right.
She got beat by a world-class striker.
Right.
So if she go, and not that, I mean, Amanda Nunes is nowhere on striking. I mean, she's a good striker, but she's nowhere at the level that Holly Holmes is.
Right.
So if Ronda thinks that this will just be another walk in the park like her other opponents before Holly Holmes, I mean, she better think about it, because
she better think twice.
Yeah, exactly. Because also Amanda Nunes knocked out Miesha Tate to win the title, so it's like Miesha Tate beat the woman that beat the woman that beat the woman.
Like we talked about that one episode. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, all my old school wrestling fans know Ric Flair. Back in the day, NWA, WCW, to be the man. Woo! You gotta beat the man.
Exactly.
Or in this case, the woman.
The woman, yes.
Yes.
So yeah. I mean, it's true. She should. You know what she should be doing? She should probably be looking at the fight between her and Tate. She should be looking at the fight where Tate lost the title and figuring out what Nunes' strengths were and how to play against that.
Yeah, exactly. And as for Ronda,
and I was gonna say, just because you don't see them bringing outside experts doesn't mean they're not actually changing strategy. It'd probably be a more smarter way to change strategy to actually bring in the experts and whatever. But just because you don't actually see them bringing in the experts doesn't mean they're not changing strategy. I just would keep it open that maybe they are, maybe they aren't.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But we hope that they're changing strategy if she wants to win this one.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I heard some rumors of bringing in Freddie Roach, who is a good boxing coach. I mean, it would make sense to bring in, to help her with her boxing. I mean, it would make sense to bring in Freddie Roach, of course, trainer of Miguel Cotto and Manny Pacquiao. Mm-hmm. As far as also used to train Amir Khan back in the day.
Okay.
Yes, and as far as to help her with kickboxing, of course, Rafael Cordello, who trained Anderson Silva and Vanderlei Silva back in the day, the top striking coach in in the shoot the box. I mean, it would make sense to bring him, to bring him in there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's how I feel about this match. I'm going to go on a limb and say that Ronda will probably win by a split decision.
Okay, yep.
What about your prediction? Do you think Ronda's going to go back to arm barring girls, or do you think it's going to be a long night for her?
Right. My guess is that it's going to be a long night, but I don't really have anything to base that on. But that would be my guess if I were to really try and get into it. Obviously we're rooting for her.
Also, by the way, I'm just responding back to a text. I'm still listening. I know this is a little unprofessional, but I'm still listening as he's talking and stuff.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. So.
Wait, could you say it again?
That I think it will probably be a long night. I'm rooting for her. Maybe it will actually be done in 4 rounds. I could see it being done a little bit less time, but I do understand what you're saying about how it will probably drag out a little bit.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And also another thing I wanted to say is this. Ronda says that this will be one of her last fights, and personally, as a fight fan, I really hope she changes her mind because because the UFC announced a new women's division, the featherweight division. It'll be and matter of fact that the fight for the first ever UFC women's featherweight title fight, it'll be against Holly Holmes and there's another girl, I forget her name. Dumb me.
Okay,
but it's going to be at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn on February 11th on pay-per-view. Okay. And I think Ronda, if if Ronda were to lose this fight, I'd say move up in weight. Move up to the featherweight division. Try to get a rematch with Holly, and also the possible match with Cyborg and Ronda, which is the fight that everybody's been wanting for. And it's actually really great that the UFC is adding another women's division. That was actually going to be one of the debates for our future episodes. Was should the UFC add is it time now for the UFC to add another women's division?
Right.
And you know what? I think with the popularity of Joanna Jędrzejczyk at the women's flyweight division, strawweight division, and the UFC bantamweight division, women's bantamweight division, it's time. It's time for another women's division. We need more female fighters to bring in more fans.
Yep.
And maybe 3-4 years down the line, there'll be like maybe 3 women divisions or 5. You never know.
Never know.
So
exactly. But yeah, that's also part of the reason we hope that I actually agree with you. I hope that Ronda Rousey stays on, especially if she wins. This was such a long time for her to be kind of down, laying low. So I think especially if she wins, it should be seen as like a rise back in momentum. And what should you do with that? You should keep at it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly. Because
then also for the future of the new women's division, I think as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because but also because a rematch with Holly Holmes is a big money fight.
Yes.
If there's one thing I've known in combat sports, people always say this: there's always money in the rematch. There was money in the rematch with Holyfield and Tyson, which of course wound up being an ear-biting contest. There was money in Ali Frazier 2 and 3.
Right.
There was money in Bo Holyfield 2 and 3.
Right.
And of course the Marquez versus Vasquez, the 4 fights in boxing in the late 2000s. There was money in that. There's always money in the rematch. So yes, I believe that if Ronda loses, I don't think it should be totally the end of her career. I say move up to featherweight, start fresh, start new, try to work your way up to a title fight with Holly. Well, even if it's not a title fight, still a rematch with Holly Holmes.
Right.
And if possible, the big money fight with Cyborg. Cyborg and Ronda is really starting to become the Mayweather Pacquiao of the UFC because it's a fight that everybody has wanted to see for years, going back when they were both in Strikeforce. This could be a big money fight right here.
Right.
And my thing is never leave money on the table.
Yep. Exactly.
Because if Ronda were to have just 2 more fights and then say like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna go and do movies, that would be a big failure for her because her movies wouldn't sell as much. Of course she's still filming the Roadhouse film and the other films, but if I was Ronda Rousey and she wouldn't be fighting anymore, I'd say to quote Michael Douglas in Basic Instinct with her boyfriend Travis Brown. Fuck like minks, get married, raise a couple of rugrats, and live happily ever after. Well, you remember that movie, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and of course, I think Travis Brown is actually fighting on that card on February 11th in Barclays.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. If he loses this fight, I think it's over. I think he'll be cut from the UFC, and pity pussy is going to be the last thing he's going to have to worry about.
Right.
Because if he loses this fight, I think he's going to be gone from the UFC.
Yeah.
He's going to be gone. But if Ronda wins tonight, I'm pretty sure Ronda's going to get on top of him that night.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's wrap this up then.
Oh, wrap this up? Oh, okay. Well, actually, I had this is one little wet dream I had of Ariana Grande. Actually, I had this wet dream for a while. But I had a dream, and yes, this does take place in your apartment, and yes, you are there for it. Don't worry.
Why am I even surprised at this point?
Well, I had this dream that we were actually fucking in your room, me and Ariana, and I was on top of her, and I'm fucking her, I'm doing her, and she's like, oh, yes, and as I'm fucking her, and then all of a sudden you walk into the room, there's like a 10-second pause, but you were calm about it. You were, and then you go, that's my room.
Right. You guys sit at the couch. No.
Yeah. Well, of course, in real life, I imagine you'd be like, "What the fuck? No,
right,
dudes,
exactly.
This is my bedroom. Get the fuck out of here!"
Right. Oh, fun times. Yes.
Oh yes, most exactly. And also, just to let you people know, this is actually going to be the last show for a while. You're going to see me with alcohol because the medication I took for 3 months, and well, I'm going back on it now because, again, I'm not dying. I'm totally healthy. Well, of course, I got a cholesterol problem, but I'm going to be on a diet.
Besides that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm fine. I'm not dying or anything, but this is going to be the last time you see me. You see me drink on this show for a while, so back to another 3 months of sobriety and 3 months of sucking. Yep, sobriety's gonna be a bitch again.
Exactly. Well, let's cheers anyway.
Of course, it's empty.
Mine too.
Yeah.
All right.
So so that's it. We'll see you guys after the holidays.
Yes,
and
yes. Happy New Year. Happy 2017.
Yep, and we'll have some more stuff for you to to watch. Our TV thing and our YouTube thing. It's all coming soon, maybe.
Yep.
So, from Beantown to your town, this is the Beantown Beatdown. Matthew Barris.
Gabe Shamus.
Saying, Happy Holidays!
Happy Holidays!
Yeah.